Previously on When the Music Stops.
It's not the real world, it's just a fantasy. But don't those fantasy bubbles pop? Leave you looking for that one someday. Then one someday, the music stops.
Well, I did it, Mom. I graduated law school. I hope you're proud. And just like that, another phase of my life over.
Nick!
Jay!
We did it!
We did!
So I guess we're not going to be Nelson and Murdoch after all.
Never say never.
Got a great gig, Nick. Kelly, Banks, and Sherman is the biggest firm in Tampa. You'll make partner in no time.
Congratulations, both of you. When we eat.
Nick, come on. Daddy is taking us to Chez Pierre.
Claire, this is my father.
Oh, wow. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr.
Chris.
You must be very proud.
Yes, we should go celebrate. I'm hungry.
Oh, my father is taking us to Chez Pierre. Unless you had other plans. Daddy, this is Nick's father.
Chris.
Oh, well. Nice to meet you, Chris. Will you be joining us for dinner?
Yeah, Mom. I guess that should have been my first clue. Maybe I could blame my obliviousness on the excitement of graduating law school. Though, honestly, Mom, it isn't exactly excitement I feel. There's a part of me that still feels like I'm going through the motions. Still trying to find my place in life.
Claire, our reservation. So, Chris, how long have you been here?
We just arrived a few minutes ago.
Dad, I think he means...
I know what he mean. What? You lose your sense of humor in law school?
Nick is a fine young man. The firm is very excited to welcome him on board. You should be very proud.
I always proud of Nick.
I don't want you to think they chose Nick just because he's dating me.
I don't think that.
When did this become my life? How did this become my life? Getting hired at Kelly, Banks, and Sherman straight out of law school. It's a pretty huge deal. I'm pretty lucky.
Maybe they big deal, Nick, but...
What?
I think they are the lucky ones. Nick?
Yeah, Dad?
You have no reason to be ashamed of your past.
I'm not, Dad.
You sure?
Yes,
What?
I just don't connect with it anymore.
You have new life now. I am proud of you. And remember, always have home in Venice.
Thanks.
It's not the real world, it's just a fantasy. But don't those fantasy bubbles pop? Leave you looking for that one someday.
And now, stay tuned
Then
for
one
When the
someday,
Music Stops.
The music stops.
Oh, it's Elena. I've been thinking about her more than usual today. Though, it's been nearly 10 years and a lifetime since her death.
Hey, Nick.
Big Jim taps on the bar, interrupting my latest, if only, session. Just as well, the outcome never changes. Big Jim is a regular at Ginty's pub in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's a slow night. My first night back at my old bartending job. I'm working the bar alone. Jim plants his big burly self on a bar stool and scratches his beard.
You back?
Yeah. Stout?
Nah. Give me one of those light beers.
Seriously, since when? He pats his beer gut.
I'm trying to cut back. Get 6-pack abs like you. Ah.
As I pour his beer, he glances up at the hockey game on the overhead television. There you go.
Thanks.
He takes a sip, puckering as if he just sucked on a lemon.
Ugh.
Want to switch?
No.
With a shrug, he downs half of his beer like it's water. Compared to his usual stout, it is.
So don't they pay you enough at this fancy law firm?
As much as I like shooting the breeze with Jim, I don't feel like having a conversation about why I'm no longer employed by the Kelly, Banks, and Sherman Law Group. Saved by the bell. Ginty's.
Nick? I've been calling your cell all day.
Probably to talk about why I'm no longer employed by Kelly, Banks, and Sherman. My phone died. I might not be lying. It's quite possible it died sometime after I tossed it into the back seat of my Mustang yesterday on my way home from Tampa. I'd have thrown it out the window, but I didn't want to get arrested for littering, in addition to possibly being disbarred.
I was worried when you didn't come home last night.
About a block away from our townhouse, I made a U-turn and checked into a hotel. I'm sorry, Claire. I told you yesterday. I just need...
Nick, I'm trying to be understanding about this, but we really need to talk.
I can't right now. The bar is packed. Through the mirror, I spot Jim glancing around the near-empty bar.
Nick, whatever you're going through, you can tell me.
Claire, sorry. There are like 100 people lined up at the bar. I look at Jim. He quickly obliges, cupping his hands around his mouth.
What's that guy got to do to get a beer around here?
I gotta go, Claire. We'll talk later. Promise.
Nick.
I turn to Jim. Thanks.
Don't mention.
He slides his empty glass towards me. Next one's on me.
Make it stout this time.
Thought you were cutting back.
Yeah, but I'm drinking for 100 now.
I poured Jim's beer, spared for the time being from another conversation with Claire about my problem. She thinks I'm having a breakdown and wants me to see someone. I've told her I'm fine, but I'm tired of saying it. With any luck, she'll be asleep when I get home, so I won't have to have this conversation tonight. There's nothing wrong with me, other than I don't want to work for Kelly, Banks, and Sherman. After yesterday, I suspect that won't be an issue. I hope it's not Claire again. Ginty's.
Nick!
Claire must have called her father right after she got off the phone with me.
Nick, I talked it over with the other partners. Look, they're not happy about the way you bobbled the Jansen case, but they know you're still green. Come back to work, you'll take your lumps, and we'll move on.
I wasn't looking for a pep talk. Even if I was, I'm not sure I got one.
Ever tell you about the first case I bobbled?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Sir, I just need...
You need to go home and talk to Claire, Nick. She's worried about you. She wants to help you through this. We all do, son.
Yes, sir. I glance at Jim.
Bartender, what's the holdup?
Sir, I'm sorry, but I have to go.
Think long and hard about what I said, Nick.
Yes, sir, I will. I hear the door open. Glancing up as Jay enters. He takes a seat at the bar. I wonder if he's going to bring up the case. Any other lawyer would probably rub my nose in it. Our first case against each other, and I had the obvious advantage. Big Tampa law firm representing multi-million-dollar corporation versus small Venice practice representing blue-collar worker. Jay's client, Tony Pirelli, lost 2 inches off of his height after falling 30 feet when a load-bearing wall collapsed from the weight of the trusses. He's in constant pain and needs a catheter to piss. But he didn't lose a limb, and he isn't paralyzed. There was an excellent chance he would have lost the trial. Just as Mr. Pirelli was about to settle out of court for a measly 15 grand, I carelessly brought up the name of a county code enforcement officer whose testimony could help Jay win his client an obscene amount of money in litigation. Oops. Hey, Jay. What brings you up this way? I don't think he knows I quit the firm yesterday, right after Tony Pirelli agreed to settle out of court for $1.5 million.
I had to get out of Venice. I'm sick of all the Q-tips. It's worth the average age around here is 75.
Be glad you're not living in Englewood then. I hear that's where all the parents live.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Uncle Sandy to move the practice up to downtown Sarasota, but he won't go for it. Rent's too high and he hates the traffic.
How are your new digs?
They're alright. I mean, Sarasota's a little livelier than Venice, but it's pricey as hell. I miss St. Pete. The commute from here wasn't that bad.
Thinking about moving back? Though my tone is even, I feel like a dog waiting to be walked. I miss Jay. He's my best friend. In fact, he's the only friend I had in this town. I don't count Claire. Not sure why.
What, miss me?
Shut up. What can I get you?
Oh, stout. And some pretzels. I'm starving.
As I set his beer down, I brace myself for some long overdue ribbing, which I prefer over grilling. Jay grabs a handful of pretzels, sipping his beer and staring at the television. He's not into hockey, or sports in general. I'm guessing he wants to talk, but he's too decent to bring up the Pirelli case, or my slip of the tongue that helped him win. More than likely, that's because he's figured out it wasn't accidental, just unethical. But I have no regrets. 3 stools away from Jay, Jim tosses money onto the bar.
Thanks, Nick.
I move to get him some change.
You're good. I hope I passed the audition.
Thanks, Jim. Have a good evening. I ring up the sale. Wash the glass, dry it, playing my bartender role, and maybe sawing a bit. I wipe down the bar, turn back to Jay. He's still staring at the television. So, not that I'm not glad to see you, Jay, but why are you really here? His eyes flit away from the TV, fixing on me, like he's just been waiting for me to open the floor.
Well, I heard through the grapevine that you left Kelly Banks and Sherman. Nick, please tell me that's just a rumor.
It's not.
God, Nick, you landed the job every law graduate dreams of. Why the hell would you quit?
I glance up as the door opens again. 6 people enter, seating themselves at a table.
Can we get a picture of PBR over here?
Sure, coming right up. I'm happy for the distraction. I can avoid answering Jay's question for another couple of minutes. I take care of the customers, wipe down the bar again. Jay waits patiently. With any luck, he's forgotten what we were talking about. Or just figured out that I don't want to talk about it.
So what does Claire think of all this?
It's as if he's been frozen in time, waiting for me to resume our conversation. She thinks I'm having a breakdown.
Is she right?
No.
What then?
I don't belong there.
And you belong here?
Maybe. Observation of the day, Mom? I'd rather be a bartender than a lawyer. At least if it's for Kelly Banks and Sherman.
A bartender.
Actually, I'm being promoted to manager.
Oh, congratulations.
I know he's just trying to help. Part of me really wants to unload on my best friend. The other part just wants to play bartender. Not sure which is stronger. Maybe the former. Jay, The door opens again, shoving a proverbial cork in my emotional dam.
Roll.
I flip the dish towel across my shoulder in true bartender fashion as I watch Claire's long, slender frame glide across the floor, her silky blonde bob bouncing. I'm not looking forward to a confrontation with her, but I always enjoy watching her cross a room.
Hello, Claire.
Her mouth already open to say something. Jay's greeting throws her off.
Hello, Jay.
She's never liked him. I'm not sure why.
Nick, can I talk to you in private, please?
I glance around the pub, hoping somebody needs a drink. Nope. I pull the towel off my shoulder, tossing it onto the bar. Then, follow Claire to the office.
What if you asked Elijah Gray? Oh,
see those 100 people left in a hurry.
I opened my mouth to answer, then realized I have nothing intelligent to say.
Nick, things have to change. Whatever you're going through, you need to get over it and go back to work.
I am at work.
Don't be flip.
She starts to say something else. Stops herself.
Nick, you have so much potential.
She bites her lip, smiling. An incredibly sexy look that gets me every time.
Daddy thinks with some experience you'll be a brilliant lawyer, a partner. He's willing to take you under his wing, train you himself.
Thoughts of circus baboons and pink sequin tutus flit through my mind.
What's so funny?
Her beautiful face is void of amusement. I hadn't realized I was grinning. As she steps closer, I note that she's wearing flats. In her 4-inch pumps, she's taller than me. I don't mind, but I know she wears those pumps to intimidate the men she works with at the bank. I find her pumps and her height sexy. Still, I appreciate that she's not trying to intimidate me. She brushes a wisp of hair off my forehead, strokes my unshaven cheek.
Come on, let's finish this conversation. At home. In bed.
Her warm breath tickles my ear. She knows precisely which buttons to push. I kiss her. For a moment, able to picture myself married to her. What man couldn't? We'll have her 1.2 kids. Having a whole other kid might make her fat. I'll become a partner at the top law firm in the Tampa, St. Pete area. We'll get matching Escalades. Hers red, mine black. I'll have a GPS implanted in my skull, so I'll always be accessible to her, to her father, to anyone who needs me, or wants me, or just wants to know they have me. I back away. I need some air time. She runs her fingers through my hair, making me shiver.
Maybe I can talk Daddy into giving you some time off.
I consider reminding her that I already quit.
We can get away for a few days. Maybe that's what you need. A break. Time to regroup.
I imagine myself on a tropical island, wearing a straw hat, sipping drinks from a coconut shell. Yeah, maybe. Even as I say it, in the back of my mind, I know it's pointless. I'll never be the man Claire wants me to be. I'm starting to think, maybe that's not such a bad thing. But a small part of me wants to try. Or thinks I should try. Or something.
Tonight's episode featured music by Bill Finnage and Bree Hayes with theme song The Music Stops performed by FM2, starring the voices of Luke Konke, Tatiana Olazabal, Charlie Kotsaftis, Joel Rouleau, and Bethany Brandt. Next on When the Music Stops.
Thanks. I start to beckon to the tall blonde in the short black dress who just walked in. When she looks my way, I realize she isn't Claire. She's nearly as stunning. Claire arrives in her little black dress and high heels. I watch her walk toward me. A theme song playing in my head. Wow, you look amazing. Can I get a Chardonnay for the lady and another martini?
Right away, sir.
Slow down, Nick. You'll fall asleep halfway through the show.
I don't care what you want.
I follow Clara's gaze toward her almost doppelganger and the tall, lanky guy sitting 5 tables away.
Calm down, Jeanette.
Don't tell me to calm down, you son of a...
Genug. Setzen. Jetzt.
Nick, sit down. What's wrong with you? You look like you want to kill that guy.
If they hadn't pulled me off them, I would have.
It's not the real world, it's just a fantasy. But don't put fantasy.
Tune in next week at WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio in Northport, Florida, or www.kdwradio.com for the next episode of When the Music Stops.
Leave you looking for that one someday.